What's going on, Bermuda lawn owners? Spring is right around the corner, and you know what that means? It's almost time for us to start scalping our lawns. You heard that right, scalping our lawns on purpose. Stick around to find out what I mean. Hey everyone, it's Mike, and welcome back to Mike's Home and Garden. If you are new to a Bermuda grass lawn as a recent homeowner, or if 2021 is the year you decided to step up your lawn game, then today is for you. Listen up, pay attention. What we're going to talk about, intentionally scalping our Bermuda grass, is an essential first step needed to get our lawns ready to go, to grow from spring into summer and to look fantastic. So today, we're talking about scalping our Bermuda lawns. I'm going to talk about why we do it, how to do it, and when to do it. If you're curious about any of those specific topics, I have the timestamps down in the description, so feel free to move around in the video as you need, but I encourage you to watch the thing all the way to the end so you don't miss out on any important information. So let's talk about the why first. Why do we have to scalp our lawns? Generally, scalping our lawn is something we want to avoid. You don't want it to look bad, but with Bermuda, there's a couple times a year, specifically the early spring, that we have to intentionally scalp it. Why? Well, let's take a look at a Bermuda plant. So this is a strand of Bermuda grass that I pulled right out of my lawn. It's nice and dormant because it's still freezing out. So it's brown, it's brittle, it really doesn't look that great. Now, when you scalp your lawn, you'll see it's this color when you do it, even if the top of the grass is green. So when the grass greens up in the spring, the top part's the only part that's going to be green. Really what's going to happen is the new growth is going to come off of this and grow up, and it's become taller than it is now. This is about 2 inches tall. So the reality with how Bermuda grows is it's only green for the top third of the plant when it's above ground. Really only this part right here is what would be green. Now, of course, when it's new growth, it would start here and grow up. So then it would be even taller than this is now. That's where scalping comes in. The ideal height of cut for Bermuda is between 1 and 2 inches. Now that's an important number to keep in mind because you'll notice with golf courses and some avid lawn care homeowners, they like to have that manicured, really tightly cut turf look with their Bermuda. That takes a lot of time and effort to maintain. Do you have the time to mow your lawn almost daily during the growing season? Not many people do. The reality is, by keeping the lawn between 1 and 2 inches, the grass is going to be the happiest because it's going to be the least stressed. It's going to encourage growth. Of course, Bermuda is a spreading grass, so it's going to spread and grow. And then also, for you as a homeowner, the maintenance that's going to be required is going to be the optimal amount by needing to mow at the height of the growing season about once a week, maybe 2 times in some really hot, humid areas. So what does that information have to do with scalping our lawn? It's really important to understand how tall you want to have the grass cut because, as I mentioned in the beginning, only the top third is green. So this right now is 2 inches long. I like to keep my lawn in the growing season about 1.5 inches tall. So if I cut this down to half, it'll be brown. And if I keep cutting it down to half every time I mow, it'll stay brown and it'll not look good. It will not be a thick stand of turf. With Bermuda, what we have to do is in the spring, scalp it down below the height of cut that we want to keep it at for the year, and then let the green part that's going to be growing when it warms up grow up to where we want it to be. So for example, if you want a 2-inch height of cut, you got to mow it down to about 1.5 inches to 1 inch and then let it grow up to the 2-inch mark. For 1.5 inches, cut it down to 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch and let it grow up to that 1.5 inch mark. By doing that, by scalping it down below about a half of what we want it to be, so 2 inches down to 1 inch, for example, it allows the grass then to grow up to where we want it to be, and that new growth is what will be green. And so that information is really important to know as a Bermuda grass owner because it's unlike any other grass type you may have worked with in the past. St. Augustine down in the south, fescue in the transition zone or north, bluegrass, ryegrass, all these other types above ground are green. But with Bermuda grass, by design, is about 1/2 to 2/3 brown, and then the top part, the canopy part, technically speaking, is green. So we want the green part to show, we want it to grow and be as thick as possible, but we also want it to be at the height of cut we want. So we have to get it down below that height of cut so we can grow the green part up to where we want it. And that is simply why we have to scalp our lawns in the springtime. After the winter frost, after the winter dormancy, we get it down low and then let that new growth, once it warms up, come up to where we want it, and it'll look fantastic. Now we understand why we have to scalp our Bermuda lawns. It's a peculiar grass. It's mostly brown, a little bit of green, grows like crazy, but we have to get it down to that right height so it'll grow up to where we want it to be. So when do we have to do this scalp? This scalp has to be done after we know there's not going to be any more nights of frost. We don't want to overstress the grass. So look on your weather app, find out when that last frost date is, and probably about a week or so after that, just to be sure, mark on your calendar now so you start having a plan that you need to scalp your lawn. That's when you're going to get it done, after that last frost date. All right, so now let's start talking about how we're going to scalp our lawns. It seems pretty straightforward, but I want to go over the details if you've never done it before. If 2021 is your year to make your lawn look fantastic, let's start it off on the right foot. First things first, you have to bag the clippings. You cannot just leave it all out on the lawn. It'll cause a mess. It'll block out the sunlight. It'll hold in moisture. It'll just not set up your lawn for optimal growing conditions going into the later spring and into summer. After that first frost day, what you're gonna do is get the mower out and lower the deck as low as it'll go. Really, I say that because with most of the types of lawn mowers we have from Lowe's and Home Depot, about 1 inch is that height. And so if we're mowing a 2-inch or a 1.5-inch height of cut for the year, that 1-inch height is exactly where we want to be to scalp. Now, some home lawn mowers can go lower than 1 inch, and if you can, and if you're trying to get to that 1-inch height of cut, do so. But the reality is, if you want a 1 inch or lower height of cut, it's going to be more work, and you're going to probably need to get a professional service into your lawn to get it done for the scalping. So you may have to call around and ask if they're able to do scalping that low and have somebody come out and help you with that. But if you're keeping it in that sweet spot, say 1.5 inches, 2 inches, your lawnmower will work just fine. Now, about that bagging, if you start bagging right away, it's going to cause a lot more work for you because you're going to have to keep emptying that bag and keep going back and starting over, and it's going to take a while. This is what I recommend to do, and this is how I do it last year, and it worked fantastic. If your mower has a side discharge feature, put that on it first, scalp the lawn and let all the clippings go out and discharge out into the lawn. And after you scalp the whole lawn, then go back with the bag. It'll be a lot easier to do this way because the mower will not bog down with all the grass clippings that are being picked up when it's being mowed. The dormant grass that you're scalping, there's a lot of it. So if you're not going to do a side discharge right away and you're going to bag, it's going to take a while because the bag's going to fill up quick. And if you use the mulching feature and then come around with the bag, it's going to make the mower work pretty hard. It may bog down. So get the side discharge on there, get the clippings out, and then come back around and do that second pass with the bag to clean it all up. So we've talked about the why we have to scalp, the when we're going to scalp, and how we're going to scalp. So if you have Bermuda grass and in 2021 you're going to take charge and make your lawn look fantastic, smash that like button and down below comment what part of the country are you in. So this was the first video in a series I'm doing this spring for you and your Bermuda lawn so you can learn the best tips and tricks that are easily accessible and easily affordable to help with either pre and post emergent weed control, whether or not you need to be seeding your lawn, how to score some awesome deals at your local Lowe's and Home Depot, whether or not you need a real mow, and a lot more. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on some key tips to ensure your lawn's going to look fantastic this summer. So if you know anyone else with a Bermuda lawn that wants to get their lawn looking great, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a friend, share this video with them, and I'll see you on the next video.